בחסדי השם נעשה ונצליח. יש לנו אורח יקר שהגיע מניו יורק למספר ימים, וזכינו לארח אותו פה היום בפודקאסט. הרב מאניס פרידמן הוא חסיד, רב סופר, פילוסוף חברתי ונואם ציבור. הוא גם דיקן המכון למדעי היהדות בית חנה. הוא היה משלוחי חב"ד הראשונים במיניסוטה, ומייסד ומנהל גם בהווה את מכון בית חבר העולמי. הרב מאניס פרידמן כתב מספר רב של ספרים. לא ביקשתי לבוא לעולם, להבין את תכלית בריאת העולם, את הספר בחזרה לתמימות, להבין מחדש זוגיות ואינטימיות, ועוד ספרים רבים אחרים. היום הפודקאסט שלנו ידבר על זוגיות. מהו המתכון הנכון לזוגיות? מהו המתכון הנכון לאהבה? מהתמכרות לגאולה. שמי דוקטור אפרת לירז, והפודקאסט שלי מדבר על התמכרות וגאולה. אם אתם מרגישים שאתם מכורים לאשמה, לרגשות של כעס, של זעם, של בושה, אם אתם מכורים לסמים, לאלכוהול, או סתם מכורים לקניות או למערכות יחסים מבאסות, אז הפודקאסט הזה הוא עבורכם. בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח ונצא מההתמכרות שלכל אחד מאיתנו יש לעבר גאולה, חופש, חיבור לנפש האלוקית שנמצאת אצל כל אחד מאיתנו, ונדע איך לנצל את ההתמכרות ואת הכאב והסבל שיש בה לעבר גאולה, שזה חופש פנימי, אמיתי, חיבור אלוקי עם בורא עולם, עם החלק הגבוה שלנו, שבו נוכל להגיע לתשוקות האמיתיות שלנו ולמה שבאנו לעולם. Welcome, ברוכים הבאים כבוד הרב. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it very much with your busy schedule. And
this is what I'm busy with.
Thank God.
If I didn't come here, I wouldn't be busy.
Baruch Hashem. We met on January in New York, and we spoke about the 12 steps and the post-trauma. And I want to talk today, first of all, about your book, בחזרה לתמימות, with Dr. Elad Ben Alul, that you wrote, and about marriage. We see today more and more people get divorced. We see more and more women and men that are talking about abuse in also religious family, Haredim family. And the question is, איך יכול להיות that people that כביכול מתחתנים כדת משה וישראל, שומרים נידה וכביכול doing everything right, בכל אופן, so much pain with relationship. מה אנחנו מפספסים שם? What are we missing?
You also have a lot of people who are not bothering to get married because it's too frightening, it's too scary.
נכון.
There's very little education, very little chinuch about marriage. You're old enough, you get married. Why? Nobody asks why. And nobody can tell you why. You just do it. You get married, you have children. For a long time, it was true. Nobody had to explain what marriage is. Nobody had to tell you. If you were 18 and you weren't married, you started to worry because you have to be married. But you can't build a life without information. If you don't know where you're going and you don't know why you're going, you're not going to get there because you don't know where you're going. Especially in our time when the media is so corrupting, not necessarily in a ugly, obvious way, but in a gentle, very nice way. It corrupts everything. One of the examples is love. Hollywood made love into God. Love is everything. If you have love, your life is wonderful. you don't have love, your life is miserable. And the solution to every problem is more love. You have people fighting wars, killing each other. What's the solution? Love each other. It is so silly and so childish. For a 4-year-old, love is the solution. Not for an adult. So the first shocking idea is, we have a lot of shocking ideas. The first shocking idea is, love is not important. Stop. Stop making a God out of love. It's avodah zarah.
So that means if you now people seeing this and they say, I don't love my husband after 20 years, that's why I want to get divorced.
That's exactly why. Because they're not married to each other. They both got married to the love. And now that they don't feel any love, there's no relationship.
בעצם love is like ריכוז עצמי of רגשות. You're thinking about yourself. You're in love with your feelings of being in love.
Yes. Because love is a very enjoyable feeling. It's like a good meal. So, love is not a state of being. Love is a pursuit.
What does it mean?
It's a mevukash. Love is not the end. You use love to get somewhere. Where is love supposed to take you? Love means I want to get closer to you. Something about you is attractive to me. Your personality, your family in the olden days, your sense of humor, your good character. I'm impressed with something that I need or want, and I want to get closer and have more. So love means I want, not I have. You don't have love. Love is an activity. Where is love supposed to bring you? It's supposed to bring you closer to the person that you love. What is closeness? Closeness means becoming one. So love is not the end. I want to have love. That's Hollywood. In the end, they fall in love and everything's great. No, love is just the beginning. Love is a tool. It helps you become one with another person. Why is it important to become one with another person? Nobody knows. We don't like being alone. Why? Nobody knows.
בפסיכולוגיה, you have את מאסלו, שאומר בסוף יש לנו את הצורך of שייכות, of being together. This is הצורך הכי חשוב of humanity.
Right. More than love. Love will get you there. But you don't want love. You want a person who is a permanent part of your life so that you're not alone. The only explanation is in the Torah. The Torah says right in the beginning, Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. It's not good to be alone. Which is a little bit of a mystery. It's not good to be alone. So why does everybody say, leave me alone? Leave me alone. I want to be myself. I want to be my type. I want to do it my way. I want to love myself.
I want to get a first degree and money and then get married.
Yeah. So what's not good about being alone? It's a mystery. But here's another shocking thing. God is creating the world. On the first day, he created light. On the second day, he created another third. Then he creates Adam, the first human being, and he says, Lo tov hiot Adam levado, ese lo eze kenegda. And then he creates a woman. And the big question is, why did he have to say it? Why did he have to say, Lo tov hiot Adam levado, so I'm going to create a woman? Just create what you need to create. What is the statement for? It's almost like he had to apologize why he's creating Chava. You're right. It's not good for a man to be alone. So create what you need to create. Why do you have to say it? It's a very interesting question that nobody really asks. So according to the Midrash, when God said, Lo Tov, he made it Lo Tov. He created Lo Tov. Because by nature, we would much rather be alone.
זאת אומרת, לפי הטבע של האגו שלנו, אם אנחנו הולכים על פי האגו האנושי, הכי טוב לי להיות בריכוז עצמי, self-centered, and self-centered is being alone. Why do I need to be bothered with another person in my life?
Right. And if I need help from another person, so I need help. I don't need the person. So help me out and then go away. Leave me alone. So whatever it is I want from another person, it's not the person. I mean, even having a baby. You can't have a baby by yourself. So you have a baby with someone, and now you have the baby. You don't need that someone anymore.
So it also goes, for example, in תלות שיתופית, if you're codependent and you're married because you're codependent from childhood and you need your husband to give you something to make you feel good about yourself, is using your husband.
So you need the security, you need the attention, but you don't need him.
He's an object.
Right. So if he's not giving you the attention, why is he there? If you're not giving me love, why are you in my house? I don't need you. So it turns out that by nature, we want to be alone. And that we can understand psychologically. It all makes sense. Every psychologist can explain that. But then there's something about us, we can't stand being alone. And this psychology can't explain. Why not? Why do you want someone taking half your life?
Half your money?
Maybe more than half. Why? That is a spiritual mystery. Now here's the answer. Why did God create the world? He was alone and perfect. What did he create a world for? It is such a fundamental question that any human being, anywhere in the world, Jew, non-Jew, doesn't matter. If you don't have an answer to that question, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know why you're here. You don't know why you were born. You don't know why you were created. Like, lo bikashti lavo l'olam. I don't need this. Why am I here? I have good times. I have bad times. If I like it, if things are going well, okay, fine. I don't mind living. I'm not suicidal. But I don't need it. So as long as it's good, I'll hang around. If it's not good, I don't want it. Don't force me into life.
Yeah, we see it a lot now with the war and with people that got hurt and soldiers, and a lot of them say, why do I need this in my life?
That's
you
for
see
sure.
that, you see rape, you see...
That's for sure. But even little things. My back hurts. I don't need this. It's all worth it. How? How is it all worth it? The good and the bad, it's all worth it. For what? So if I don't know why I'm here, my life can't be very good. So since I can't explain why I'm here, I give up on the question, and I just say, whatever, just show me how to make the best life. Why? I don't know. It doesn't work. I mean, it worked for a long time. Now it doesn't work.
So if we take it, for example, for shiduchim, an 18-year-old girl or boy, say, okay, we need to get married because everybody gets married, and then they get married, and then the balagan starts.
Yeah. You need to get married. See, it doesn't make any sense. I need to get married. I didn't even need to be born. So I don't know why I'm here in the first place, but you're going to tell me what I need, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. Excuse me. I don't have to be here at all. How do I get all these obligations? So the answer is, God was alone, but perfect, and yet he created the world. Why? Because lo tov lihiyot levado. God is telling Adam, why am I creating you? Because I can't stand being alone. Why? That's godly. It's not human. Human beings would like to be alone. Give me, give me, give me, and leave me alone.
זה הטבע של האגו. ריכוז עצמי, מי.
And you're a problem.
נכון.
Look, even all you had, the whole world, you had Cain and Hevel. Hey, what are you doing here? My world. It's a big world. Can you share it? No. Your existence bothers me because I'm supposed to be here, not you. The whole world is empty. You can't. You have a lot of space. Couldn't tolerate it. So when a person feels just me, all for me, it doesn't feel right. That's because you were created b'tselem Elokim. He doesn't like being alone, and he put it into our teva by saying, Lo tov hiyot adam levado. He made it that we should also not like being alone. Why? Because we're like him, and he doesn't like being alone. What does it mean I don't like being alone? He's perfect. He doesn't need any help. He doesn't need anything from us. And the Torah tells us that over and over and over. He doesn't need anything from you. He can exist without you. He did exist without you. If you disappeared, he would still be fine. So what does it mean he can't? So this is really an important. What's good about being perfect?
Nothing.
Exactly. It's
Nothing.
horrible.
It's one of the hardest, perfectionism זה קשה להחלים מזה בכל תחומי החיים. To be perfect is a disease.
And we're talking about someone who is perfect. Of course, somebody who thinks he's perfect, that's a disease of a different kind.
Yeah.
That's a complex. It's a psychological disorder. But somebody who's, theoretically, he is really, really perfect. It's horrible. Because being perfect and being dead is the same thing. If you're absolutely perfect, so what's going to happen tomorrow?
Bored.
Nothing. I'm perfect. It's the end of the road. It's a dead end. So being perfect, it's impressive in some way, but it's not life. That's what it means. It's not good to be perfect. Say it's not good to be alone. But if you're not perfect, then of course it's not good to be alone. You need help. The chidush is, when you are perfect, it's not good to be alone. That's romantic. I don't need any help from you. I don't want to take anything from you. You don't have to give me anything, but I need you in my life. Why? Because just me doesn't make sense.
מדהים. What you're saying is אפס ציפיות from your spouse. And a lot of people בתוכנית 12 הצעדים מדברים על זה. If you want good relationship, אפס ציפיות. רק תיתן עם אפס ציפיות. And a lot of times when you say it to women or to men, their answer in the clinic is, so why do I need him?
Exactly right. Why do I need him? Then don't get married. If you're not marrying the person, then don't get married. Just use the person for what you need and then throw him away. So you can, anything a human being needs, anything, you can get without being married. I don't know, maybe in the olden days they couldn't imagine that. But today we know. You want love? Have love. You want sex? Have sex. You don't have to get married. You want a baby? Have a baby. You don't have to get married. So what do you need a marriage for?
בשביל זה people don't get married today.
Yeah. Or when they do get married, it's a disaster.
Disaster.
Because we're not married to each other. We're married to something.
To a desire?
To whatever it is. Imagine a man says to a woman, I want to marry you for your money. An honest man. He speaks straight. I want to marry you because you're rich. Not a good idea?
A lot of men do it, and women.
It's a terrible idea.
Or is it?
Because it's not even honest. I want to marry you for your money? No. I just want the money. I don't want to marry you. But you're not going to give me the money unless I marry you.
אפילו if we can do it, law about money. I want to marry you because I like your family and you're inherited. You're כמה משידוך מוצלח. So it's good for my ego.
Right.
Then you see a happy year after.
Kavod. Okay. I want the kavod. I don't want you. But I can't have the kavod without you. So, okay, I'll marry you. It's horrible. It's an insult. Just like in religion, I want to get to heaven. I want to get Gan Eden. So you're going to give me Gan Eden? Oh, only if I'm religious? Fine, I'll be religious. It's so insulting. I don't want God. I don't need God. But how else am I going to get to heaven?
But the Tanya in Perek Hey tell us the only way to get to Gan Eden is by Torah v'mitzvot.
Why do you want to go to Gan Eden?
So what do we want to go to hell? No.
So that's the problem. You don't really want Gan Eden either. You just don't want to go to hell. It's terrible.
So what's the answer?
So it's like saying to God himself, I don't need you, but how else am I going to get to heaven? So I'm using you to get to heaven. But if I could get to heaven without you, well, that would be perfect.
But I think everybody that if you ask them, אם היו נותנים לנו מטה של קסם, and we can go to heaven and have a good life without working, it's a question. What are we going to choose? No?
The question is, why do you want to go to heaven? Why?
You ask me?
No, I'm saying, like, this is the goal in life, is to go to heaven. We come from heaven. We start off in heaven.
Right.
Then we come down to earth, suffer, and then we can go back to heaven. Thank you very much. What kind of plan is this?
So what's the answer?
All right, so here's the question. A man says to me, we do marriage counseling. The man says to me, I don't know what the problem is with my wife because I love everything about her. So it must be her problem because I love everything about her. I have no complaints. I said, you love everything about her? Yeah. Do you love her? He said, I told you, I love everything about her. I said, no, not about her. Do you love her? You love her money, you love her looks, you love her family, you love her sense of humor, you love her character, you love everything. Do you love her? He says, what does that mean? He doesn't even know what it means. If you take away all the things, what's left? That is so insulting. If you had no money and you didn't have good looks and you didn't have a famous family, you would be nothing. So what am I marrying? A nothing? So people actually say, many people, what do you mean her? What do you mean her? You're talking about her looks? You're talking about her personality? You're talking about her intelligence? What? I said, no, I'm just talking about her. What does that mean? What's her? People cry and suffer. And they say, why can't you accept me the way I am?
I think it starts already with the shidduchim, that when we meet person, there are a checklist. Who's the family and how many kids and do they have money?
And show me a picture.
And what does she do?
Yeah.
But that's the way it works.
So we have to understand the whole process, right? The objective and the purpose of getting married is to be connected to another person who isn't you. You find somebody who's exactly like you, then you're not going to gain anything by getting married. Then there's just more of you. Marriage means someone who is not me. Then if I'm connected to someone who's not me, then I'm not alone. So God says, just me? What's good about that? Because I'm perfect? Perfect is terrible. So I'm going to create you. Why not angels? Angels are not someone else. Angels are just more of him. In order to not be alone, you have to create someone who has a different opinion than you.
Okay, so why should we marry X velo Y?
In other words, you can marry anybody.
Exactly.
True. But there are some people that are easier to become one with, and some people are very hard to become one.
But don't we have the one?
We'll get to that. The first thing is, theoretically, if you don't want to be alone, then any other person is good. The problem is in the details. I want to be one with you, but you keep criticizing me and you don't let me become one with you. Or you have issues, you don't allow anyone to get close to you. Whatever it is, some things can block and make it very hard to become one. So before we marry, check it out. Is this going to be hard or going to be easy? That's what dating is for. You want to see how hard will it be to become one with this person. I don't want the hardest. I want the easiest. But not that I want good looks and I want money and no, I want to become one. Will anything stop me? So when you go out on a date, or a man goes on a date, he's looking for the prettiest woman in town?
Most boys also religious, yes.
Then he's not marrying someone, he's marrying something.
Absolutely.
So why even bother dating? Just call up and get married on the telephone. Why do you even have to see each other? It's because some people will make it very hard on me to get close to them because I don't like how they look. Physically, I'm not comfortable. Not because I'm looking for the prettiest. I'm looking for someone whose appearance is pleasant to me. Maybe to somebody else it won't be. So you go out and you see, this person is very comfortable. I like how she looks. I like how she talks. I like how she thinks. So there's nothing that's going to make it hard for me to become one with her. But I'm not marrying her for those things. I just don't want those things to make it hard. So I don't need the prettiest and the smartest. And if she's the prettiest and the smartest, she probably won't marry me. And we probably won't have a good relationship because the prettiest and the smartest and the strongest is not interested in anybody else. They're usually too busy with themselves. So you really don't want the greatest. You want someone who is matim to your tastes. So if you're comfortable with everything about each other, you could become one with each other easily. You don't have to fight. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to compromise. Easy. Now, the truth is, like you mentioned, God doesn't leave it up to you who to marry. It's too important. So he chooses who you marry. That's called bashert, soulmate, zivug. So the Gemara says, God stays up all night making shidduchim, arranging who marries who and how they're going to find each other and how they're going to look to each other. And what is it about these two people that they should marry each other? They're the same neshama. Every neshama gets divided into male and female, or parts male, parts female. Two of those parts are meant to be married to each other. So you can't marry whoever you want. It's not true.
So, for example, marriage of male with male or female with female, with the connection of understanding the meaning of the soul, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work as a marriage. Right? So if marriage means that both neshamot come from one neshama, then when you get married, you're going back to being one. You become one again because you were once one neshama.
Okay. I have to ask something about it because this sounds so romantic and heavenly to become one with your husband and to be back neshama. But if we see what's going on, I'm not talking outside of the religious community, which is, I'm talking inside the religious community. And you see men that talks not nice to their wives. You see abuse. You see hitting. You see pornography all over. איך זה יכול להיות that people get married and they're one soul and you have so much pain and fighting, you know, even though, לא נלך לקיצוני, so much fighting. You talk to new couples, to old couples. מה מתקלקל שם if we're supposed to become one soul?
The problem is not in the soul. The souls are fine with each other. The problem is in the damage. We're very damaged. We inherit damage. We inherit trauma. We're not new souls. Every soul that is born comes with baggage, unhealthy baggage, from traumas and from pain and from miseries and from, like, for example, children of survivors. They have a lot of baggage. It's not their fault. They didn't do anything wrong, but they have traumas that they get from their parents, not because the parents gave them trauma. They inherit it. It's Yerusha. They're born with the problems because they're born from people who suffered those problems. So when you have a baby, you're recreating yourself. And if yourself is a pained, suffering person, the baby is going to have some of that. That's from the Holocaust. But what about Jewish history before the Holocaust? There was no pain? There was no suffering? There were no pogroms? So all this builds and builds and builds. And now at this point in history, we are the product of Tisha B'Av. One churban, another churban. And we receive it all. Then we add, as we grow, we add more trauma. Because we're not happy, we're not healthy, so we misbehave, don't treat each other properly, parents don't treat children, children don't treat parents. So more trauma, more trauma. Now you get married. And you bring all that trauma with you. So it's not the marriage that is the problem. The marriage is the best part of your life. But the junk that comes with you and with your spouse, with your husband or wife, they get in the way. They don't let you be what you want to be. What do you want to be? You want to dissolve.
להתמזג.
Yeah. You want to become more than you, not just me. Why do you want that? Because you're like God. It's not human. It's godly. Those things get in the way. So we have therapies and we have treatments and we have all sorts of, they help a little bit and they don't help. But to get past all that trauma, to get past all that damage, because we're very damaged human beings. How do we handle that? What are we supposed to do about that? So the best therapy, which is not even therapy at all, the best therapy is anivut. Let's agree, a couple get together, they're going to get married. But let's understand and let's know in advance. You are damaged. You are broken. You're dysfunctional. You're traumatized. I know. So am I. So what are we going to do? Stop trying to fix it. Stop demanding perfection. We're both broken, damaged people. Does that mean we can't have a life? We're going to let that stop us from living? How does a human being make God happy? Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. We're serving him, and it creates simcha for us and for him. How? We're so bad. We're such broken, little, tiny creatures. You're making Hashem happy? The answer is, you don't have to impress him. You just have to be with him. He didn't ask you to impress him. It's very hard to impress him. He's not looking for your qualities, for your strengths, for your brilliance. He just wants you. That's why afal pi shachata yisraelhu. You didn't do everything I need you to do. I just need you. So that covers up on all the problems, on all the damage, on all the... But if you come into the marriage hoping that the person you're marrying is not damaged, it's going to be a disaster.
אפשר לקחת את זה ל-12 steps about relationship, that when you come to a marriage, if you want a good marriage, you have to have אפס ציפיות, no demand, and your work is to give, and not to expect anything from your spouse. When you do it, when you give, you're מתמלא, and then you have a good relationship. And it's very hard because we are מתוכנתים that our husband, my wife, supposed to give me something. She's supposed to cook, he's supposed to give, to provide in a high end, and שמה מתחיל הבעיה.
So there's one piece missing in this whole, it's a very good theory. Don't expect anything, just give. And what do you get in return?
When you give, usually you fulfill yourself.
How? Why?
Because
if you give, you get empty.
אם אתה נותן ואתה שומר על עצמך, עם גבולות. יש מנגנון that you check if you give שירות להשם או ריצוי. If you give but you want to return something, then you're hurting yourself. Because it's ריצוי, it's שליטה. But if you give out of שירות להשם, and I have a family and you know, helping the children of God, then something happens there in the relationship.
Okay. What? What happens? What is the relationship? I give you, and that's the relationship. That's half the relationship. Right?
נכון.
If I give and I don't expect anything back, what am I going to get? You. Then I will have you. You're good for nothing. But there's you. So I have a good example. A husband is out of town. He's out of the country. The wife says, I miss him. So you ask the wife, what do you miss? She says, I miss him. Yeah, well, what about him do you miss? Not something about him. I miss him because he is not here. So it's not I need someone to take out the garbage. I miss him. So we do know what it means. Just him. Not something about him, not something from him, just him. But then as soon as he comes home, it becomes about something. To be married means I have you. What are you good for? Who knows? But I have you. And you have me. That's not love. That's achdut. How do you get there? Love helps. Respect helps. Kindness helps. Sharing life for many years helps. But after a few years of marriage, you have each other. But you don't know, you don't understand that. You never thought that that's what you wanted. All you notice is, yeah, but he doesn't buy me anything. He never compliments me. He never has time for me. Things. Yeah. So here's how it works. Those things are a little important. You're not marrying for those things, but it's painful to not have them. So you can do one of two ways. Give me all the things I need, and then I will be yours. Or, I am yours, so give me what I need. But I'm yours anyway. That works much better
But if somebody's married to a narcissist, it doesn't work.
It's painful.
Painful.
But the narcissist can't connect to another person. He can only use the other person. So here's a very practical, real consideration. If you don't serve Hashem, if you don't serve God, you don't become one with Him. Why would you become one with a person? Those who become one with Hashem become one with people too. In other words, if I am capable of getting past all things, I don't want anything from Hashem. He doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't have to give me anything. He didn't even have to give me life. But Him I want. And Admor Hazaken wrote the Tanya. He would say in the Tefillah, when he get really, I don't want Gan Eden. I don't want Olam Haba. I just want you. So what does that mean? That means I don't care whether you're a very kind God. I don't care if you're very big and very strong and bli gvul and ein sof. I don't care. I just want you. If that's the mentality in your Yahadut, then it's much easier to do that with another person. But if you don't want to be one even with God, what do you want to be one with the Shmendrik? So we have to change our entire
perspective.
View, of what is life. Start with the big question, not with the details. Why am I here? So let's put it in human terms and psychological terms. All problems come when you take yourself seriously. If you're very important to yourself, you're going to have a miserable life. Because if you're important to yourself, then every need you have, or you think you have, or you once had, or it feels like you have, will make you miserable. But I need this, I need this, I need that. How am I going to get this? How am I going to get that? I never had this, I never had. There's no end, there's no end. The truth is that the real emes, you don't need anything. Why? Because lo b'kashti lavo la'olam. I don't need to be alive. Don't bother me.
But now we're soon going to be in Rosh Hashanah, and they say, ask from God. Ask kama shiyoter. Ask health and כל הדברים הטובים שאתה יכול.
But there's a condition.
אפס ציפיות.
That's a contradiction. The condition is, He is my God. Not if He gives me this, and this, then He'll be my God.
Of course. נכון.
He is my God. And therefore, everything I have, I want from Him.
Okay, so now I have a question. אני מסכימה מאוד 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 שאם זוג, a couple, understand that אפס ציפיות and just giving, זה הדרך for a good relationship, אני מאמינה בזה מאוד. But then you hear ש-a woman is מקבל והגבר הוא משפיע.
Perfect.
אז איך זה מסתדר? כי עד עכשיו אני מסכימה 100%. אבל if you're supposed to be מקבל, when your husband's supposed to give, איפה זה מסתדר? So he does need to provide.
He needs to give himself. A narcissist can give everything, but he can't give himself. He can't move from himself.
נכון.
That is closed. The giving is give yourself.
What does it mean? If somebody hears okay, practica.
His identity becomes your identity. If he thinks about himself, it includes you. You and him have become one. He doesn't know who he is without you.
אז אם לדוגמה, people do prenup, עם הרעיון הזה, prenup is something that is making the relationship a problem.
Because it's about things.
Right.
So again, here's the solution. Not only to marriage, but to life itself. If you are needy, you're focused on, I need this, I need that, you're not healthy anymore. Because a human being doesn't need. I don't know how thousands of years, we are convinced that we need. We need protection. We need safety. We need money. We need food. We need clothes. We need. No, we don't. What's going to happen if I don't have food?
צורך בסיסי.
So what's going to happen if I don't?
We die.
You die. So? You need to live?
No.
You don't need to live. So what is this? I need. I don't need. I can't live without food. Okay, so I won't live. I only need to eat because I want to live. Do I have to live? I don't have to live. So I like eating and I like living, but I don't need to live and I certainly don't need to eat. I need to stop eating. This is the truth. It's not a theory. Today, children are saying, I don't need to go to school. Why? I didn't ask to be born. It's so true. Finally, it took us 5,000 years to wake up and say, hey, wait a minute. I don't need this. So you can't say to a child, you need to go to school. I don't need. Well, but if you don't go to school, how are you going to support yourself? I won't support myself. So how are you going to live? So I won't live. But don't tell me I need. I don't need.
So what to say?
You're not needy. איך אומרים?
נצרך.
I am not a nitzrach. I don't come into this world so that I can beg God to give me things. It's so depressing. You're born and you need and you need and you need. Who's going to give you? Beg God, maybe he'll give you. That's miserable. I am not needy. I'm not nitzrach. I am needed.
צריכים אותי.
I exist because I'm needed, not because I need. Who needs me?
God.
The Creator. He created you. I mean, come on. Obvious. But we're so confused, and we got everything so backwards. Every rabbi will tell you that God doesn't need you. And then you're supposed to be a good Jew? This makes no sense whatsoever. The first message is, God doesn't need you. You need him. Well, thank you very much. I don't want it. I don't like this game. I don't want to play. How is it possible? God, who creates the whole world, doesn't need anything. I didn't create anything, and I have needs. I have to have this, I have to have that. It's an upside-down world. You exist because you're needed. If you get distracted and you're busy with being needy, you're just going to be depressed and you're not going to have a life.
שזה ההפך מהמחלה הרוחנית, כי המחלה הרוחנית, it's always ריכוז עצמי, it's all about me, it's about being alone, אנוכי, always thinking about myself, and the way to get out of it is by saying, I'm here because God needs me.
So when God calls Avraham, what does Avraham say?
Hineni.
Hineni. What does that mean? Hineni means, I have nothing to do. You need something? Tell me. Because I'm available. I don't need to be here. You need, so tell me and I'll do it. That's called Hineni. But if I need to eat, then I'm not Hineni. Wait a minute, I'll finish eating, then I'll talk to you. Hineni means I'm totally available. Why? Because I have no needs. Ani lo nivreti elo l'shamesh eskoni.
And you need to take that into a relationship. They don't teach that.
Of course not. They don't teach anything. Or they teach the opposite. Mamish the opposite. So here's the point. Let's go back to love. When something is important, then you should love it. But loving it doesn't make it important. If we could just convince people of this simple fact, life would become much, much more livable. You ask a 10-year-old, who's more important, your father or your dog?
Father.
Many children will say, my dog. You say, why? Because I love my dog. I don't love my father. So that makes the dog more important? That is so sick. Love doesn't make something important. When something is important, you should love it. So what does it mean? Love is so important. No. He is important. So you should love him. Ahavat Yisrael. You should love every Jew. Every Jew. Love. See, love makes the world go round. No, Jews make the world go round. So every Jew is important. So you should love him. This is critical because if I love someone who's not important to me, I'm not related, we're not married, I'm not your family, you're not important to me, but I love you. So now you become important. That's so arrogant. My love makes you important. So if I love someone who's not important, he's still not important. And if I don't love someone who is important, he's still important. So you may not love your father, but he's still much more important than your dog. People are confused. The mishigas about love has twisted our thinking completely. As long as I love you, you are the most important person in the world. If I stop loving you, you're garbage. How evil is that? There are people who are important. How should you treat them? With love. What does it mean, love? Move closer. Try to get closer because they're important. God is important, so you should love him. What does love mean? Try to get closer.
So how do you get closer if people hear it and they're married 20 years or 15 years and they have problems in the relationship? And in one hand, we say, just give, like yourself, and don't love the money. He's not supposed to give you anything.
He's supposed to give you everything, but
himself.
You're not marrying that.
Yeah. You married him. You're not married his הדברים האובייקטיביים שלו, כסף, מעמד, religious, anything. And on the other hand, we have the understanding that a woman is supposed to be מקבלת והבעל משפיע. אז על מה הוא משפיע?
So this is another beautiful thing. How do two people become one?
By religions, we just explained getting married.
But how do you become one? You're two separate people. How could you become one? If two people are both givers, all you're going to have is fights. If two people are both receivers, nothing's going to happen. They'll wait for each other to do something. In order to become one, there has to be a giver and a receiver.
Plus minus.
Yeah. If they're matched, he can give and she can receive, then they can become one. But if they're the same, so the giving and the receiving is not things. The man makes himself open to her by giving himself, and she makes it possible to become one with him by receiving him into herself.
What does it mean in practice?
I'll tell you what it means. A young man is going out with a young woman. He calls me and he says, I have never met such a woman in my life. She is unbelievable. She is the greatest, the best, the smartest, the most beautiful, the most talented. I've never seen anything like this. But I'm afraid to marry her. What's wrong with me? So I don't want to marry her, but I don't want to lose her. What is my problem? The answer is very practical and very real. What will you give her? You're going to be the mekabel, and she's going to be the mashpia.
Because she's amazing?
Because there's nothing you have that she doesn't. So you can't give her anything. A woman calls and says, I'm going out with a guy. I have never met such a man in my life. He is so kind. He's so gentle. He's so thoughtful. He's so respectful. I don't know why I don't want to marry him. What's wrong with me? The answer, of course, is, of course you don't want to marry him. You want to adopt him. You want to be his mother, not his wife. But if a man calls and says, I'm going out with this woman, and every time I sit with her, I just think, I want to take care of her for the rest of my life. It would be such a pleasure to take care of her, take responsibility for the rest of my life. I would love it. Marry her before she walks away. The woman calls and says, I'm sitting with a guy, and this never happened to me before. I'm sitting with a guy, and I'm thinking, I really trust him. I would follow him. I would support him in whatever he wants to do. Marry him now. In other words, he brings out the mekabel in her. He makes her feel like a mekabel, and it feels really good. And she makes him feel like a mashpia, which he is. But with any other woman, he never felt that. He felt like he had to compete. try to be cute, try to be smart. It's uncomfortable. It's exciting, but you don't want to live with that excitement. So when she brings out the gever in him, and he brings out the mekabel in her, you've met the right person.
ומה קורה עם זוגות שהתחתנו וכבר הם נשואים 5-10 שנים ויש הרבה מריבות בבית? איך אתה פותר הם לא למדו את זה, הם לא שמעו את הפודקאסט הזה לפני החתונה. מה עושים אז?
Like this couple come and they fight and they argue and they scream and they complain. And then the husband says, so do we have to get divorced? I said, you can't get divorced. He says, why not? I said, because you're not married. The question shouldn't be, should we get divorced? The question is, should you get married? Because you haven't gotten married yet. You're just thinking about things and how many things you need and how many things does he have or does she have. It's not a marriage. So it's not you have a problem with a marriage.
You have a problem with yourself.
It's not a marriage. Like people say, I don't have shalom bayit. You don't have shalom bayit. You don't have a bayit. You're worried about the shalom bayit? It's not a bayit. You want to take what she has. He wants to take what you have. This is a bayit. This is a political debate. So it doesn't matter how long you're married or how much pain it's been. Start all over and get married. You'll love it. You could be a very good couple, but you never even tried.
מדהים.
I don't need to be a tzaddik. I don't need to be dati or charedi. I don't need it. But if that's what Hashem wants, for him, I'll do it. For me, I don't need it. That's called a good relationship. The reason I'm excited about Simchat Torah or Pesach is because he enjoys it so much.
ואת הרעיון הזה to bring to your connection with your spouse.
So if all I do is give, what am I going to get? A man said, I gave my wife so much for 8 years. What did I get from this? I said, what are you supposed to get? If you're good to your wife for 8 years, what are you supposed to get? A happy wife. That's what you get. You're good to her. She is really your wife. You've become one. That's what you're supposed to get. But you're thinking, no, I need a reward. I need my name on the building. What are you supposed to get? You're supposed to get her.
מדהים.
So, bottom line is, stop being needy. You're making yourself sick. Realize that you are needed, or find out who needs you, and then your life will begin. Because the truth is, you are a needed creation, not a needy creation. So when the Torah says, Ivdu et Hashem, it's not a job, it's not a problem, it's not a demand, it's an answer to a question. The question is, what am I doing here? I don't need this. The answer is, so Ivdu et Hashem.
Just do it.
Do it for him.
For him.
Because he needs it. You don't need anything. And then the promise is, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. But if you're working on your own needs, you'll never have simcha. And look, it's such a simple. If I'm home alone and it's lunchtime, am I going to make lunch? If there's some leftovers from yesterday, or if there's a jar, I'll open it up, I'll eat. Otherwise, too much bother. But if somebody calls and says, can I come over? You have lunch? So, whoa, I'll go out and I'll buy some stuff and I'll cook some stuff and I'll prepare. I love it. We enjoy doing for others much more than we enjoy doing for ourselves. But this crazy society, love yourself, take care of yourself, you come first, you're the most important, that is so depressing.
זה בדיוק המתכון למה שאנחנו רואים. אני מודה לך מאוד. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
אני ראיתי שיש לכם סדנאות השבוע של זוגיות. אני ממליצה לכל זוג, גם נשוי וגם שרוצה להתחתן.
It's never too late.
Never too late. וכמו שאמרת, get married. גם אחרי 20 שנה. Get the right marriage. בחסדי השם נעשה ונצליח. תודה רבה, כבוד הרב.